Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Dr. Inia Desnia show. Very excited to be here. And for those that are joining me for the first time, I really want to say shout out. Thank you for being here. This show is where I share resources to help SMEs thrive. We're not just talking about surviving. We want you to thrive. All right. And so at this point, usually what I do, of course, not usually, always, I share something that is very interesting. Something that would resonate with SMEs. And if you don't know what SMEs, because somebody asked me, what is SMEs, right? That is small and medium-sized enterprises, or you can liken it to small businesses, right? And so what I do here is that I do my best to share resources. Of course, everything I say here is for informative and educative purposes only. It's important for you to seek the help of a professional, right? Because I just give general information, right? Some might specifically apply to you, but in different ways. So it's good for you to know how that works. And of course, if you don't have a professional, you don't have a CPA working with you, of course, yours truly, can work with you. Just go to my website, driniadesnia.com. Then, navigate to my CPA firm and just sign up for a consult. And, I would, meet with you. And of course, if you got this information from this show, please send me an email. I'll give you a discount for watching this show, right? And of course, I'll give you a discount from my hourly fee or my 30 minutes fee for being part of this program. Just all I need from you is the date of the program and what I discussed during the program, the show, of course, and then of course you can get a discount. Hopefully I'll have a better structure from next time. Say, okay, there's a keyword somewhere. If you get that keyword, of course you'll be able to get that. But going forward, I will just let it go for now. But from next time, I will actually give a keyword and effective. So anybody that comes that comes to my website after or we're entering the month of April, anything from the month of April forward, they will have to give a keyword that will give them that discount. All right. So today, let's talk about another interesting topic. And, what is really unique about this topic is that some people feel that it's only for big corporations, big companies, and large companies. And I'm going to say a no, right? So before I start saying no, which means no, let me just give you the topic is, my topic today is using corporate social responsibility, which is CSR, as a marketing tool. And you might not have heard of that, or you might be doing this somehow, but you didn't know you were already doing it, or you might not have done this, or you're not even doing it at all. And you would, so you might, as again, you might not be doing this at all. And so you'd be wondering, what is CSR? CSR is a very important tool, and I'm going to dig into it, right? All right. First of all, let's define CSR. What is CSR? So CSR is like a concept, what companies do, they integrate like social and environmental responsibilities within the corporation, right? And to interact with people, like stakeholders. Now, you might say, but that's what a nonprofit does. Yes. But in this case, CSR is specifically really targeted towards for-profit companies. Because for-profit companies take advantage of this CSR and just make a difference in their community. Now, we know that many people, anybody that, apart from nonprofits, but we're talking about for-profit now, any company, right, or any company that is in business wants to do what? Make a profit, right? Of course, you're not there to just exist in the business. No, you're in the business to make a profit. Every company, SME, is in the business to make a profit, right? Now, of course, we know CSR is for everybody, but I'm targeting SMEs. So I'm focusing on SMEs right now. And the reason why I have this program or this show focus on SMEs is because of the unique or specific issues that are really faced by SMEs. And one of the big issues I always say that is limited resources. limited resources. So you want to stretch your resources so that it can do so much for you, right? You want to stretch your resources, right? So that's why I'm really doing this show is just to make a difference in the lives of businesses that are SMEs, all right? Now, but looking at what are some of the so what are some of the things you can do? Now, remember I said you're in the business of making profit, of course. But what CSR does is corporate social responsibility. What it does, it expands beyond just profit. It looks at people, it looks at the planet. So we might hear that SCSR is actually a 3P concept. When you hear 3P, it means that it also goes beyond profit. Profit is 1P, then there's people, and there's also the planet. All right. Now, let me now that let's go into the 4 areas, right, of corporate social responsibility. I'm going to explain the 4 areas that people really look when we're looking at CSR. The very first one is environmental. Now, when we look at environment, what do we mean? Right? You might say, oh, but I'm not an environmental company. Well, you can do things that relate to in the environment. Maybe you want to be more of, I know a company that they said, okay, we're going to help they're going to be more green, maybe, get rid of products that might cause issues in the environment. It could be anything, right? You could be maybe more of a recycling thing. You might expand on recycling within your company. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you do. To do more recycling is environmental. That doesn't mean you have to be somebody in the environmental sector, right? What can you do, right, to be more, eco-friendly? For example, you might say, okay, you know what? Some people might say that if you ride it, if you're, use a train, right? Depending on where you live, there's some, if you use a train or if you use a train, they can maybe, give you, maybe be part of giving you a train ticket, right? Something like that, just to promote the environment, be more green, or because you might say that with the train, you might reduce. People might say it reduces emission, less cars. It could be anything. I'm not saying, and please I want to make it clear now. I'm not saying that having cars or driving cars or is bad. No. This is not where I'm going. I'm giving examples, right? So the environment, you might look at, okay, what can you do to actually, promote make a better environment, have a better environment, right? So there's things you can do within your company. All right. What can you do? All right. Now, that's one of it, right? Environmental. Now, the next one is ethical. Corporate CSR also looks at ethical responsibilities towards your staff. Fairness. What kind of looks at towards your staff. How do you treat your staff? Are you treating them fairly? And this is not just saying, making it, this is not just assuming, right? Put it out there, right? Let your team, your staff know that everybody's treated fairly. You know, when it comes to salary, the paycheck of everybody is treated fairly as long as they have the same level of qualification and they can do the same job. You treat them fairly. Even the salary you pay, right? It's fair, right? Some people can come and even go be ethical. They might actually expand into diversity, right? Things that will say, okay, we want to show that our company is aligned with a couple of things that shows that we're ethical, right? These are some things that are because CSR is social responsibility within, outside, and even inside. Remember, we said profit, people, and the planet, right? So people also includes people within your company, right? Because you might think that, oh, but how is that CSR? Yes, if people feel that you're treating them well, there are so many websites people go to, and they are there anonymously, and they might say, oh, I'm working with this company and this is what they are doing, and this is, oh, I enjoyed working with them, that they treat, so many things that and you might be sitting down and thinking that you're not out there, Remember, I'm talking about marketing now, a marketing tool. You're just treating your staff very fairly. You have an open door policy. You treat everybody nicely. If anything happens where somebody's treated in an unfair way, you take it up immediately. You do things immediately. You take it up immediately. Do things that will make everybody happy. And you are hearing that people are putting things out there. People are putting things out there. Remember, you're actually not. Right now, he's not even done anything out of the ordinary, right? Because you just feel that to be fair is to be fair. And I would say, well, I would say that's how it's supposed to be, right? Because there are some companies that, if you hear what is happening in some of these companies, is really, really sad, right? So other people hear about those things, hear about the bad things that they say about a company that is not treating people fairly, right? So your staff is actually talking about you, putting out there so many social media platforms. I've come across so many that they'll put a company there and talk about that company, right? And you might say, oh my goodness, my company is small. It doesn't matter. You might say it's not a big company. No, it doesn't matter. It's through things like this, people will say, I want to identify with your company, with that SME. I want to identify. This is such a great way to market your company, right? Ethical way, right? The next one is something that, I see this a lot in big companies. They might say, especially I see this in retail companies will say, you know what, why don't you, your change, do you want to, if you have they'll say round it up, and then they give things to the local charity. But I also see SMEs that actually, make a difference, right? With local charities, they go out of their way to make a difference. Actually, the one I talked about should actually be financial. We're going to that. But the local charities are, what are you doing for the charities around you? I actually see, and this is another option that people do, or they actually, owners of companies, I have spoken to, some SMEs owners. I said, you know what, if you have a cause, right? So if you have something that you're passionate about and you don't see somebody, or you don't see a company that's really aligned, well, usually there are many, but there might be some that's specific to your needs. You create a nonprofit and actually, you know what, support that nonprofit. If you're the kind that, or if you're saying, you know what, that's too much, support a charity. It could be anything. It could be it could be a food pantry, right? It could be anything. I know that there's a company that I know that what they do is that they actually help. They're into technology, and they actually help small business, nonprofits in that technology aspect. They have it time, and then the technology guys they actually come and work with these nonprofits to see what they can do to make them do well in the technology way. Of course, they have people working with them, the nonprofits, but there are some things that they can add, maybe some specs in their technology that could be something that is unique. So what we do is identify local charities around. There are so many. You can actually identify the local charity and make a difference. Even there are some schools that are non-profits, schools, you can make a difference and say, you want to support something that they are doing. You want to support an aspect. What is it that they are doing? Right? This is, and this is a great run. And I want to step back and say, it doesn't have to be $1 million. No, it doesn't have to be you're supporting $1 million. No, what are you doing for such people around you? Remember, the corporate social responsibility, which is the CSR, is actually based on what? What are you doing for people and planet? Of course, you are going to make profit too, right? Your profit is what is given because that's why you're in business. But this goes beyond just making profit. All right? So it doesn't have to be $1 million. Remember, we're talking about using CSRs as a marketing tool. All right. The next one, right? Remember, I said four. The next one is financial. And, I actually spoke about, rounding, but that is not under philanthropic. That is actually under financial. Because as I said, rounding, a lot of retail stores will say, oh, do you want to round? Do you want to round and give it to this charity? Give it to, it just, so in this case, you as a company, where does your money go? Right? Who are you? What kind of companies, what do you support? you know, Financially, what do you support, right? These are just ways, to get yourself out there, right? I mean, even if you're making, not even as you're making a profit, I know some people that are going into business say, 10% will be given to specific, their specific areas they want to give this amount of money to, right? This is what their goal is. So when we're looking at CSR, the corporate social responsibility, we're looking at what the environment, we're looking at the ethical, philanthropic, we're looking at my financial. Where is it? Where is your funding going to? What are you doing to make a difference in people's lives? What are you doing to make a difference in the planet? What are you doing? Right? So these are some the four areas that one is can look at when we're looking at corporate social responsibility. And again, it doesn't have to be millions of dollars, right? I know people that are even involved in Habitat, the one that they go and build and be part of, building out building houses for people. So many of them out there. There's so many, right? So you can identify with what works for you. It just depends on what is it that you're looking at, what works, right? It depends on what works for your company or what is your goal as you are the owner of the company. What do you want to be part of to show corporate social responsibility, right? It's all about not the profit, which is good, but it's also about outside stakeholders, right? How do you interact with people outside? All right. Now, although we're talking about the marketing tool, right? The marketing tool, let me give you some pointers as it's a marketing tool. What is the benefit of that? Right? Now, we've heard of search engine optimization. You know, it's very easy for someone to search up companies that are involved in, for example, recycling, right? Because as you're doing this thing, of course, you're going to show that you're doing that. And then they come across your company. Wow, I want to be part of this. I want to really, work with this, work for the company or use their products or their services because of this specific thing that they're doing. All right. So, people look at, I know people that are passionate about certain things. Like I know people that are passionate about maybe even the environment. This is something that, oh my goodness, I really want to work with people that are aligned with that. And it doesn't have to be the environment. It could be anything, right? I know even people that are very passionate about pets. It could be anything. I know people that are passionate about feeding those that are hungry. As I said, it could be anything. It could be anything. But imagine people setting you up and they see that these are some of the things you do as corporate social responsibility. I mean, that definitely would draw what? Would draw clients, would draw customers to you. Okay? Another another tool, another reason, another why of the CSR. Remember, the goal is marketing you. And why is marketing so important? And I know I've, had a lot of shows with this topic, right? It's one of the very great topics, marketing, because no matter how successful your product is, or great, or no matter how great your service is, right? If people don't know about your product or your service, you're not going to make money. Let's look at two scenarios. One has an average product. Your product is so fantastic. But because the person that has an average product has a very good marketing platform, what happens? The person that has that average product will sell much more than you that has a great product. Why? Because of marketing. And I know, again, I've mentioned this, and I said that in the course of this program, definitely, definitely, definitely I know that when we look at, SMEs, definitely and definitely have limited resources. So we want to look for ways where we can actually get out there, cheaper way of getting out there, right? And of course, I'm not saying that you should do CSR just because, oh, you want to get out. No, you have, it's nice to do things like this, right? But again, there's an added benefit. There's an added benefit. All right. So another great, remember when we look at the goal, why are we marketing? Why do we want to market? The goal of marketing is what? We want to what? Make more money, right? Go. You want to make more money. You want to market so people get to know you, make more money. When you market, more clients, more customers, right? And we can actually make more money either by reducing expenses or increasing revenue, right? Increasing revenue with the same level of expenses, or not like you're increasing revenue, increasing expenses at the same percentage. No, either you reduce expenses, faster than you increase revenue, or you or you just increase revenue and expenses stay as is, right? So the next point is what? You get happy employees, right? When an employee is happy because you have the ethical CSR, who want to leave your company? A lot of people don't want to retire or resign. Why? Because they love the way you treat them. If you treat somebody well, who wants to, leave your company? And when that happens, what happens? When employees are happy, there's what? Reduced staff turnover. And when there's reduced staff turnover, what happens, right? There's what? Reduced costs, right? Because remember, when we look at turnover, we're talking about changing your staff over and over and over again. People forget. I know that I have a show on that topic. People forget changing your staff over and over again. There's some costs that are hidden, right? That you might not really remember that those costs exist. But guess what? Those costs exist. For example, training your new staff is a cost. Downtime is a cost, right? All those things that are costs, right? That are costs related to getting new staff. So imagine if you have happy staff, right? Happy employees means that reduce staff turnover. Now, treating people well, like staff well, I'll just step a little bit back and just expand a little bit again on that. A little bit, I don't want to use this just to talk about everything about staff turnover, but just to add to that point, treating staff well is also being concerned about your staff. Everybody always says, you know what, I want to give them a report that is maybe a negative report. A report that, when I say negative, it means that it's only when it's negative that I give them a report. What about telling them, oh, good job here? What about telling them, oh, wonderful job? What about appreciating them? Even if you want to give them, if you want to correct them, what about correcting them in a very nice way? What about learning how to treat people the way you want to be treated, right? Yes, you are blessed to have the company. It could be the other way around, right? That this person has that company. So it's very important that we learn to treat people well. So showing empathy, treating people well is also part of CSR, right? And you know what? How does that affect, you getting all these great things, right? The reduced cost. Remember, the goal again, marketing tool is to increase profit, right? Profitability. All right. The next one is, of course, what do you want to be? Ahead of your competitors, people that are competing against you. You want to be ahead. You want to be ahead. So imagine both of you are in the same industry, right? Average, same size of company, right? But you're just doing a little bit more. For the environment, you could a little bit more for people out there. And you might, I'm not saying you should pick up the four of them. You might pick up four of them and do it. Some people just pick one out of the four. Some people pick two, some people pick three, some people do all. But at least do something, right? I mean, I would say the ethical one is a given. Every company should take advantage of that. Do it. If you're not, if you don't have um, specific rules or that governs your staff about how you treat your staff, I would say that you have to rethink and get that done. That is a given. That should be given because that anybody, unless I mean, you might be the only staff, but of course, I always say anticipate growth and have that, there. But if you if you don't have, you might say, okay, it's only you. But other factors, and now I want to also say that you can always ask people to volunteer, right? And say, okay, we want to do this. Let's come together and do this. Even if you don't have 20 staff or 30, you can actually go and even volunteer. Have a group of people that say, okay, you know what? You could be something you can, get them to be part of your company just for the purpose of this CSR and pay them accordingly, right? Because I know a lot of companies, corporations that do that, they still pay their staff for the hours they volunteer. So, they still pay their staff. They just said instead of working, we're paying you the part of your work is to go and do, make a difference here, make a difference there. But it's still paid employment, right? So you want to be ahead of the competition, right? You want to make sure that you are out there, right? And that's what remember I said was CSR as a marketing tool. You should even say, I would say CSR as a great marketing tool. Using CSR as a great marketing tool, right? Is a great marketing tool. All right. So you want to be ahead of your competitors, right? Right. And then of course, through all this, remember we talked about SEO, search engine optimization, search engine optimization actually ties into this. You want people to see you more, know what you're doing, right? See you more. I mean, this is really a great marketing strategy. People will see you more, know what you're doing. Of course, the branding aspect of it, wonderful marketing tool, right? Marketing tool, great marketing tool, CSR. So which one do you want to do? Which one falls into what your goals are? Is it the environment? Of course, ethical is given, except you're the only person. But even if you're the only person, as I said, have that in mind. All right. All right. Are you going to focus on local charities, or are you just going to, put a percentage? Some people might say, you know what? I just want to give a percentage of what I earn or what my profit to this company. It's still good. CS is still a very good thing to do, right? It's still good. It just depends. So see what works for you. But like I would say, do something. Do what I would say that let's pick up something and get that done. And let people know, of course, right? This is what you do. Right? This is your belief system. This is what you do. I talked about core values before. Yeah, but this is really your core values are there, but this is really this. I mean, the CSI can actually tie to your tie with your tie with to your core values. But it might not really because really you might not put in your core value. You're giving some people don't put that there. They're just being supportive of local charities. You don't have to put it there as core values, but you can do it. And then you can, I mean, I know companies that already say that, this is what we do. This is what we have, we have done for this community and that community and that community. And it's a great thing, right? It's a great thing, right? Corporate social responsibility. I mean, if you have a moment, you can look it up and just see. I mean, of course, as I said, when I come to speak here, I have limited time. I can, give you too many examples, but I will say that you should look it up and see how you can work with your professional. And of course, yours truly is always here. If you want to say, okay, which one would work better for you, we could always do an analysis and see what works better, which one you should go for. All right. And then, get it out there and make sure you do make a difference. Because when people see that, when people see what you're doing, when people say that, you know what, you have your staff that does this and does that and does that, or you guys are involved in this, that. Honestly, I know it's surprising, but a lot of people identify with that. So very important for you to look at how how the CSR, which is the corporate social responsibility, how does it tie into your company, your goals, right? Because really, it's a great marketing tool for SMEs. All right, it's a great marketing tool. All right. Okay. Okay. Now, let's go to some of our questions today. All right. My first question here. Yeah, the first question here, or what I see here is, I have issues with getting paid for my services. What am I doing wrong? Okay. So the first question I'm seeing here is, I have issues with getting paid for my services. What am I doing wrong? I would say that, first of all, there should be clear cut um I would say that expectations on both sides. You have to make your client understand that this is what is your expectations, right? From both sides. When I say expectation, this is how much it depends on, I don't know, the services. Is it that that you are have a retainer? So I was, or if you don't have retainer, because that's a way to go. I have people that in the service industries, they said, I won't talk to you unless you put a retainer down for me before I talk to you, and I will draw on that retainer. I have people like that. So in that case, I will say, first of all, get a retainer. All right. It might not be for the full amount, but some people will say put down a deposit, right? So I would say that would be a way to go. Now for service industry, I would say maybe it's for a deposit, right? Then after that, we will say, okay, you know what, before I release, I'm done with your work, but before I release the work to you, I want to be paid the remaining, right? Now, there are some, for example, that let's say hairdresser, you know, um, I mean, for hairdressers, I believe that they get, I mean, I've not seen if anybody walks out without the payments of I've not seen, but if it's the case, I would say deposit, and when it's done, you get the rest, the remaining amount, or you get the money in full when you're done. If they say that, I believe some people do that. Pay me upfront. Pay me upfront, and I will do the job for you. The reason why I'm saying that, I mean, I'm going to talk about my own personal experience. There was the time when I started this firm, I was all about, you know what, that's fine. That's fine until someone betrayed my trust, where, I believe there was a tax return that time. I prepared a tax return for this person, and the person said, you know what, it's a bit tight for me. Let me get my refund. And it took a couple, I was wondering, because usually the refund takes a couple of weeks, right? Then I realized it took some months, and I found out later that the person collected the refund. And I said, what's happening here? And the person, I mean, this is true. The person actually told me that, oh, I have bills to pay. And I said, wow, wow, and wow, and wow. So after that, eventually I was paid. But after that, I changed my policy. Unless I've known you for so many years, and then I've seen level of trust, and I know, then I know how to relate with you when it comes to services. So usually deposit, when I'm done, if it's a tax return, I don't even follow process it. I'll finish it, and I won't process it until full payment has been made before I process it. All right. And you do the work, but I don't do the final work of, meeting the tax, right? And if there's another job, usually if there's anything else, some other jobs, usually I take it. If I don't know you, you have to pay me upfront, right? If I know you, well, depending, I'll get a percentage upfront, right? But if I've never met you before, 100%, because I don't, and it doesn't work for you, and it's fine. That's fine. All right. So I would say go back and redo the contracts. I would say go back and talk to your clients. And let me tell you something. It could be some of them will say, I'm not doing that. I can't work with that. And you said, fine, that's fine. It's better to not do the work, right? And not get paid because you didn't do the work than doing the work and not getting paid. So depends on which one are you looking at. All right. So hopefully that answers it. Anybody that has that kind of question, because I know in the service industry, it's something that is not uncommon, right? So it's not uncommon. All right. The next question is tax season is upon us. Any additional tips to get a bigger tax refund? Okay. I'm sure you've watched my program. If you haven't, please make sure you look at how you get an additional deductions. It's very important for you to watch the show, and we go from there. Very important. But I would say that make sure you claim all your necessary credits and make sure you claim all your deductions. Now, one thing about tax law continues to change. And the onus is on you to make sure that you are, you know, you know, making sure that you actually claim all the benefits out there. Now, one thing about tax law is a bit different, or taxes, because I'm not an attorney, but I have that knowledge base of tax law. It continues to change. It continues to change. So you have to make sure that that you take advantage of those changes now, because people think it's only in a bad way. It changes only in a bad way. No, it continues to change. When I say it continues to change, I'm talking about changing not only, like when I say bad, I'm saying that, oh, compliance. Because bad, when people think of bad, they think of compliance. Yes, compliance is important, but I'm going beyond compliance. I'm going to benefits, because there are so many benefits out there that is important for you as a a tax payer to know about, right? It's good to know, because if you don't know, how do you take advantage of those benefits? All right. So again, if you don't have a professional working with you, please contact yours truly. All right. So that we can work with you. How do you get that? Talk to .com. Then you navigate, right? Navigate to my CPA firm. All right. Okay, so of course, please watch the show of tax deductions and all those good things. But again, there's some specific, there are some specific um, 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 tax credits or deductions that might be peculiar to your company. It's very important for you to know that. All right. Okay, my next question here is: my company is a corporation. I understand that there are certain payroll taxes that I do not have to pay if I hire my children. Well, I would say very correct. There are certain payroll taxes, but it still depends on your structure. A corporation is a bit different. Usually, it's usually sole proprietorship and partnership, but of course, conditions apply. And I don't want to get into that, but I know that, I mean, sole proprietorship directly is your parent. Partnership, both have to be your parent, right? Now, corporation is a bit different. And so you have to really know what is the name of what is the kind of structure. If you haven't heard about the business structure, please, make sure that you reach out to my firm for us to help you work and see what structure is the best for you. All right. So when you say that there are certain taxes you don't need to pay, it depends, right? You're saying corporation, it depends. Usually corporation, you pay taxes, pay all payroll taxes, but if you're a partnership, if you're a sole proprietorship, it also works differently, right? Now, I know we're talking about hiring children, right? I want to even expand on that, because somebody might say, oh my goodness, why do I have to be a corporation if I know that I can benefit from hiring my children and not pay certain payroll taxes? Of course, meanwhile, I have to really stress that this payroll taxes is dependent on certain things. Payroll taxes that we're talking about here is dependent on the age of the child and so many factors. So, but what I'm saying here is, so it's not like, we're talking about, it depends on the child age and all those good stuff, of course, and also the structure of the company. But I want to state here, because one thing that we do as a firm, right? We look at the big picture. We just don't look at hiring children on one side and not look at the impact of other aspects when it comes to the tax impact. So I really want us to understand that when it comes to the tax impact, we look at the big picture. right? Very important to look at that. So yes, it's good to hire children. Depends on that, their ages. There's so many factors to depend on, of course, and the kind of policy, but operations are unique. And so, as I said, when I started this show, it's important for you to know that this is for informative and educative purposes only. There's some things you might want to clarify before you decide on what to do. Again, we're here, yours truly is here for you to understand what works for your firm or for your company, for your small business. I mean, right? I would say small business or SME, right? All right. No, if you don't have, again, somebody working with you, well, yours truly is here. All right. Now, okay, I think we have time for one last question. Okay. How old must my children be before I put them on payroll? All right. I would say really, it doesn't mean, I won't say that. I mean, I would say the age depends on, can your child do the work? And you might say, okay, what work am I talking about? Do you know, I know kids that are, I know the parents that put a child that is 7, 8 years old to help in shredding, you know. The 7 and 8 year old will not be someone that does administrative work. So, I mean, maybe shredding. I know someone that puts his teenager on the team, social media team, because she's very good. I'm serious, very good. So, I would not say the age. I would say, what is the work that the person can do? I mean, is it reasonable, right? I can't imagine a 4 year old shredding or something like, I don't. I would say that first of all, the age doesn't matter. It depends on what the person can do. Of course, as I said, 2 year old, 4 year old, I can't imagine what that child can do. So it has to be something that the child can do, right? So it's number one. Number two, um, please don't forget that there are labor laws. You cannot just put a child to come and work, because some people get so excited. Oh my goodness, I can employ my child. Yes, you can, but there are labor laws. You cannot be so excited to employ your child and pay the person, and get so excited and then pay and say the person work 50 hours a week, 50 hours 50 hours a week or so, because I can deduct that amount of money. No, 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 no. It has to be reasonable. And also, it's important for you to note that when it comes to the child, right, you have to make sure that they're actually doing work pertains to your company, right? It's not like if you're not someone that is into, maybe you're not doggy daycare, your child cannot walk your dog or your puppy as part of your business if you are not a doggy daycare, okay? Or anything related to taking care of a dog or a puppy, all right? So make sure that it's really related to your company. So that's why I'm actually expanding on that question. Just depends on what the person does or the child does. Make sure labor laws are important. Then make sure that it's reasonable, and finally, I would say that compensation should be reasonable. Somebody that's 8 years old, 9 years old trading, I mean, it has to be reasonable. I can't imagine someone paying that person $20,000 a month, right? Because of trading. So it has to be reasonable that anybody can defend it, right? And also, just to add, you should make sure that the payment made is what? Is actually the payment that is made for salary for that child, right? It's not, or sometimes people say 1099, it just depends. I'm not going to go into the difference in classification, but it's important for you to understand that, all right? What works for for your child based on so many factors. But make sure that you're actually transferring a salary check or 99 for that child that would support the work that child is doing. All right. So I know I expanded on that question, but I just thought it was necessary. All right. Again, very excited that we could make it today. And very, very, I believe, as always, interesting topic. And then please, again, if you have any questions, please, and you don't have a CPA that you're working with, please navigate my website. And then, tell me what we said about this show, get you a discount. I would, again, have better structure for that discount from April. I'll have to note it somewhere. So just wanted to make sure that we get that, I really want to make a difference, right? This might, yes, I want to make a difference and make sure that as much as possible that you're not just surviving, right? you are thriving as an SME. And, to end it, I would say that, remember, to thrive, you must what? Be intentional. I could go on and on. You have to be intentional. All right. Wonderful. Having you today. Very great. I'm very happy that you could attend. I will look forward to seeing you next time, right? Have a wonderful, restful evening. All right. See you next time. And again, thanks for being